everyone. This is Mrs. Kringle, and today I'm going to talk to you about some other resources that you can use for your research. In the past couple of videos that I have created, we have looked at SIRS Issues Researcher, which is a pro-con type controversial database that looks at issues in a pro-con format, very current and newsworthy topics. We've also looked at ProQuest, which is a large general interest database that contains articles on a multitude of subjects, everything from history to science to medicine, lots of great articles in there. And we've looked at Masterfile Premier as another source, or Academic Search Premier, another general interest database covering lots of different topics. And we've also looked at Issues and Controversies, which is another pro-con database. Today, I want to look at some of our databases that are available to you that are ebook or reference book databases that have good background information for you to use on a topic. So to get to the South Dakota State Library databases, we're going to go to the Pierre School District homepage, which is peer.k12.sd.us. Once we're on that page, we're going to put our mouse over the word schools. We're going to go down to where it says TF Riggs High School, and we're going to click on TF Riggs Library. I already have it up, so I'm just going to go to the tab right here. Once we're on the TF Riggs Library page, we're going to click on this link right here that says Riggs Research Resources. And the databases that we're looking for, again, are South Dakota State Library databases. The South Dakota State Library pays about $1 million a year for the citizens of South Dakota to use these databases. They are free to you to use, and as long as your device is within the boundaries of the state of South Dakota, you can use these without needing a barcode or password. If you plan to travel outside of South Dakota and still want to use the databases, and because you're a South Dakota citizen, you can do that, just come see me in the Riggs Library and I'll give you the Riggs Library barcode and password. So as I mentioned, we've looked at SIRS, Issues Researcher, we've looked at Issues and Controversies, Masterfile Premier and Academic Search Premier, and we've looked at ProQuest. Today, those are all generalized databases, meaning they cover a wide variety of topics. Today, I want to cover, like I said, some ebook and some reference book databases. Again, these cannot be found by going to Google and typing in the name of the database because they're paid for and paid subscriptions. You need to come in through this library page, either my page or the South Dakota State Library page. So we're going to scroll down. I want to start by looking at a database called Gale Virtual Reference Library. And again, just a reminder that all of the databases are in alphabetical order. So we're going to scroll down and find the G's right here. It says Gale Virtual Reference Library, and we're going to go ahead and click on that when we find it. Gale Virtual Reference Library is a database that contains, instead of newspaper and magazine articles like we've seen in ProQuest and SIRS, what's contained in Gale is reference book materials. So all you're going to see in here are reference books, which is just awesome. It is a general interest database, meaning it covers a wide variety of topics. If we look over here on the left-hand side, you can see that we cover all of these different topics. It is awesome for history and law. If you're looking for background information on that, medicine, you can see there's 27 books in the medicine area that cover medicine. Nation and the world, if you're going to do a country or religion, there's some really good information in here as well. Technology, business, the environment, lots of great information. So if I click on medicine here, if you just want to see what kind of books are in here, here are all the books that they have on medicine. So you can see there's a cancer source book, there's childhood diseases and disorders, allergies, complementary and alternative medicine, depression, diabetes, disabilities, disease management, drug abuse, the Gale Encyclopedia of Cancer, Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine, Gale Encyclopedia of Prescription Drugs, Surgery, Human Diseases and Conditions, Genetic Disorders. You can see, look at all of these different types of books that they have. So you can certainly go to one of those books and do a search within the book if you want. What I like to do, and I'm going to go back to the home page here by going up here, where there is the icon that says Gale eBooks. If you see, you put your mouse over that, it becomes a hand, takes you back to the home page. I like to go right here and just do a basic search in the search box. So I'm going to do a search on lupus, and I'm going to hit enter. And when I do that, I get 261 results from the different books that they have in Gale. Now, when I find a book that I am interested, or an article that I am interested in, it's really important that we click on the article title to get into the article. If I put my mouse over the cover of the book, you can see it becomes a hand. Or if I put my mouse over this link here that says Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine, it also becomes a hand. These are links, but if you click on these two, what it will take you to is not the article about lupus. What it will take you to is into the book, and then you're searching that individual book. So to get to the article, we just click on the article title. So I'm going to click on Systemic Lupus Erythematosus. So here I am under SLE is another name for that, or way to say it. You can see there's a definition, a description, shows you where it affects people in the body. It has some more information on demographics, on who's affected by it, causes and description, diagnosis, okay, and then treatment. How are you treated? Okay. And there's some alternative treatments, nutritions, prognosis, what is your likelihood of recovering from it, and prevention. How can you prevent it? They have their sources that they use to create this article at the end. And at the bottom, again, here is our source citation, which is what we love about databases because our citation is already created. If you'll remember, we use MLA 8th edition here at Ricks High School. So there's your citation. You can copy and paste into your bibliography. Important though, remember to visit with your language arts teacher to make sure that this is an accurate citation. Up here at the top in the right-hand side, you'll see your function keys. Here's your cite function, your send to. If you click on that, you can send this article to Google Drive. You can email it to yourself. Remember, I've talked to you before in other videos about how important it is to print any research that you like because it's hard to go back and recreate searches. You can download this article if you want to, and that will just download it to your computer. So if you have slow Wi-Fi at home or you want to have access to this article without having to use Wi-Fi, you can download the article, and you can see it just downloaded it right over here. Exit out of that. You can also print it, and you can get a link so that you can come back to it later if you want to. You can highlight it if you want to and add some notes to the article itself. So this is an awesome, awesome resource. You can see if we go back to my results list, there's a little icon right there that says results in the upper left-hand corner. There I'm back into my results. You can see there's a lot of information in here. There's that medicine that I take, hydroxychloroquine, which was, again, big news item this past year with COVID-19. But you can see all these different articles from all of these different books that are contained within Gale, giving you a lot of great source information, especially for background information, which you do need to include in your paper as well. So that's Gale. Gale is a wonderful resource for reference book information. Again, it's a general interest because, as you can see, it covers a wide variety of topics. So Gale was one that I wanted to show you. Another one that I wanted to show you is an encyclopedia database called World Book Advanced. So if we scroll down all the way to the bottom of the list of databases on the right-hand side, you'll see a couple of different World Book options. We're going to look at World Book Advanced. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. This is World Book Advanced. World Book is, you may be familiar with the print version of it, the 26-volume encyclopedia set. Each volume is a different letter of the alphabet. You can go in there and look it up. Great background information. So if I was going to do a person for my paper and I wanted some information on the person, I could do a search. And there is an article on Jackie Robinson. Awesome pictures, which you're free to use as well. I know that some of the language arts teachers do allow you to use pictures in your presentation. Gives a great information about Jackie Robinson, his background, his achievements. Again, your citation is at the bottom. To find your function keys in World Book, it's up here in the upper right-hand corner. Looks like a cogwheel. If you click on that, those are your tools. Here's where you can view the article. You can save it. You can share it. You can print it. You can get your citations again. If you want to save it, you can save it, and it allows you to download it as a PDF, save to Google Drive, to OneDrive, or to My Research. So this is an awesome resource, again, for some of that good background information. And since it's an encyclopedia, it's going to cover a wide variety of topics, again, what we would call a general interest database. I do want to show you here, though, what I love about Worldbook. In addition to the article itself, which is what we're looking at here, you can see there is a tab here that says images, videos, and audio. There are the images there that were in the article. If you click on it, it brings up a bigger copy of the picture, and you can copy and paste and use that in your presentation. Of course, if you give credit to where that picture came from. And then we have related information. And related information is just some other resources about this, in this case, Jackie Robinson. So here are some primary sources. Primary sources are those written by the person at the time that it was happening, or written by somebody living at that time. And so there's a lot of here presidential papers. So these are presidential primary sources on Jackie Robinson, on the passing of Jackie Robinson. You can see there is a statement from President Richard Nixon on the passing of Jackie Robinson. This is a statement that he gave. So if you wanted to include that in your presentation, that is there. There's also magazine articles that you can click on, and these are some magazine articles that they have on Jackie Robinson. So these come from Baseball Digest. So when you open it, it will take you to another either website or another copy of the article. So this was from May and June of 2020 about Jackie Robinson being a Pathfinder. So very, very interesting. And all available there in Worldbook. So just make sure that you take a look at some of these different tabs as well. Here's what I want to show you about Worldbook, though, too. If you're maybe wondering what to do for your topic, if you go back to the homepage, and again, I'm going to go up here to where the logo for Worldbook Advanced is, and it becomes a hand. If I click, it takes me back to the homepage. If you're thinking about maybe not knowing what you want to do for your topic, Worldbook has an awesome resource on it that's little known and kind of hidden away that I want to share with you that you can use to find some cool information and some cool ideas for a reference topic. If you go here in the upper right hand corner where it says research and resources, and you click there, there is a tab that says educator tools. And you may not think to click there because most of you are not educators yet. Hopefully some of you will decide to be educators, but most of you are not. But if we click on that educator's tool, I want to show you this little thing right here on the left-hand side. It says teaching with documents, okay? And it has a bunch of different topics here, okay? And what it has is links to some really interesting information. So if I go here, and I want to scroll down a little bit, there is a link here to something called U.S. Culture. So if I click here, these are some documents that Worldbook has pulled together to create lesson plans around. But there is something really interesting. Here's Jackie Robinson, President Eisenhower, and the Little Rock Crisis. So if you were wanting to do Jackie Robinson and maybe were thinking about how to tie in his role in the civil rights movement, this might be an interesting letter to look at. But I love this one, just it cracks me up. Rock and Roll Heroes, a letter to President Eisenhower. So if we click on this, this is actually a letter that was written to President Eisenhower. And you can bring up the letter here. It says, Dear President Eisenhower, my girlfriends and I are writing all the way from Montana. We think it's bad enough to send Elvis Presley in the army, but if you cut his sideburns off, we will just die. You don't know, and know is spelled N-O, you don't know how we feel about him. I really don't see why you have to send him in the army at all, but we beg you, please, please don't give him a GI haircut. Oh, please, please don't. If you do, we will just about die. Elvis Presley lovers, and they've written a little, this little cry or a little chant over here that says, Presley, Presley is our cry, Presley, ever loved. And then it's signed by the writers. Obviously, this is a letter that was sent to President Eisenhower, just so you know, anything you send to the president is kept and put in his library. But this would be a really interesting topic, and maybe one you hadn't considered, is about celebrities and entertainers who have entered into the military to serve, because Elvis Presley did go and serve during World War II. So very interesting. So maybe you hadn't thought about, hey, hey, that's an interesting topic. So not just doing a biography on a celebrity, but actually looking at how they have been involved in war efforts throughout the years. Something you may not have thought of until you looked at this. And if you scroll down, you'll see there's discussion questions here that could maybe help you to formulate a thesis statement. So there's some really, really, really interesting ones in here. I'm going to go back here by using the back button. I'm going to go back to teaching with documents. Another one I wanted to show you is under the U.S. history section. There is a letter that is written, excuse me, my computer is acting up right here. Oh, there's one about Little House in the Census, Monzo and Laura Ingalls Wilder, so that might be interesting. And there was some on the Red Scare there too. Maybe it was in, the one I'm looking for is not there, so I'm going to go back to teaching with documents. I'm going to go back to U.S. culture. There was another one that a gentleman had written to the post office about his mail, which I think is really interesting. I'll have to find it. It's not coming up for me right now, but a literacy test. This might be interesting if you are interested in doing voting rights and the civil rights movement. This is an actual literacy test that was given to people in the 50s and 60s. And if they didn't pass it, they weren't allowed to vote. So very, very interesting. Considering we have a presidential election coming up, that might be interesting for you to use or as a topic. Oh, constitutional issues. I think that's where that was. Censoring the mails. What is your opinion? 1916. This is a letter written by a gentleman who he wrote it to the Postmaster General in Washington, D.C. It says, "Sir, about 3 months ago, I sent $1 to a publication known as The Blast, published in San Francisco, and I have not received the last 2 issues. I wrote the publisher to ascertain the cause of this. I have his reply before me, stating that my paper has been held up by the postal authorities on the ground that it carries quote unquote forbidden articles. Now I resent greatly that your interference in this matter, as I cannot see by what right you exercise the power of censoring my mail. I think that I am in a much better position than yourself to judge what for me would be forbidden literature. But perhaps, since you have set yourself up as my literary censor, you will reimburse me my $1. You have no more right to hold up my paper, which I have paid for in actual money, than the highwayman to hold up and rob me. I demand that you remove your embargo or refund your money. Sincerely yours, F.E. Van Cleve." So this was written from a man in Bishop, California, who was not getting his mail, and his mail was being held up by the Postal Service, who felt that it was a communist publication and would not send it to him. So there's really interesting things here. Mail censorship might be another topic to consider. So I just think this World Book Advance, this teaching with documents, which is under the educator tools, just is really an awesome resource. So we kind of looked at constitutional issues and U.S. culture, but there's U.S. history here, women's history. Take a look, there might be something in here that might interest you. World Book is a wonderful resource for articles and background information and for just ideas on different topics. So let's go back to my page because there's one last reference or ebook database I want to look at. It's called Ebooks on EBSCOhost. So scroll back up with me and you'll see Ebooks on EBSCOhost and go ahead and click on that. Ebooks on EBSCOhost is a database produced by EBSCOhost. So it's going to look, when it loads here, very similar to Masterfile Premier or Academic Search Premier, which we looked at in a previous video. But what's in this database, unlike the Masterfile and Academic Search Premiers, which has newspaper and magazine articles, the only thing in this database is ebooks. So actual books that you can look at online. So I'm going to do a search at this point on school mascots. Let's see what comes up under school mascots. And I actually get 2 books that come up. I get 2 results. One is called Dancing at Halftime, Sports and Controversy Over American Indian Mascots. and one called the Encyclopedia of North American Indians. So if I go in here and I click on this, Dancing at Halftime, because that sounds like something I'm interested in. If you look, here is a description of the book, so you can find out what the book is about. And then over here on the left-hand side, we have PDF full text, EPUB full text, or a full download. I'm going to go to PDF full text. And what's it's doing is it's opening up the book for me. So over here on the left-hand side, so I have the book over here, and on the left-hand side, I have my table of contents. So as I look through here, I can see, maybe what I'm really interested in is a controversy. And I can click on that, and that takes me right to the chapter on the controversy. So I can read through that if I want to. I can also download just that section if I want to, or download that chapter as it's saying. If I come up here, you can see I can save pages, I can email pages, and I can print pages. So let's say I want to print pages. This particular publisher is allowing me to print up to 40 pages. That's as many pages as I can print, but I can print up to 40 pages. So this section that I'm looking at, the controversy section, is 15 pages. So if I click this, I can then print the PDF. It will load the document. There it is, and then I can print that to wherever I want to print it. Okay. But the thing to remember, because this is an ebook and there is only one copy of this book, while I am looking at it, none of the rest of you can go in and look at it. So that means that there is one copy that's one user, one copy, one user. Just like if I had a physical book in the library, none of you could have it or look at it till I returned it. None of you can look at this ebook until I return it or close it. So I am going to be a responsible user. I'm going to go hit the back button and get out of the book. Now it is available for someone else to click PDF full text and look at. Okay, so that's something to remember. If you want to know how many pages you can print, if you scroll down a little bit, it says publisher permissions. In this case, it says you can print, email, or save up to 40 pages. Okay. Some of the books in here, you're not allowed to print at all. And that's because the company who made that book has decided you can't. Those are the three databases: eBooks on EBSCOhost, WorldBook Advanced, and Gale Virtual Reference Library that I wanted to share with you. The other thing I want to call your attention to and remind you of is that we have over 1,600 physical books here in the library, and many of them are awesome nonfiction titles. So when you're on my library page, to get to where you can search the card catalog, we need to come here where it says Library Catalog and Overdrive. And if I type in here, let's say I'm going to do a search on vaccines. Okay, I'm going to type in my keyword, and then I have to tell it what kind of search I want it to do. So I'm going to click on this little icon that says search keywords, and I go in here and I get 8 titles. We are looking at actual physical books that are on my shelf, and I see 2 here that says How Vaccines Change the World and The Vaccination Debate. So if I am interested in this one, I first need to look over here on the right-hand side and make sure it's available. If it says 1 of 1 available, that's good. It means it's on my shelf. So if I click on the title, here I get a description of it, okay? And I can look at copies and see that it is available to check out. So I would need to come in with the call number in order to find the book on the shelf. The call number is like the book's address, okay? So those are the databases that I wanted to show you. And I also wanted to remind you about the card catalog. If you have any questions, please come see me in the library. Thank you.